So today is 21st of July 2015, Tuesday. Not much news that came out today of much, but I remember reading today morning about the monetary policy meeting minutes from Japan and from Aussie. Looks like I remember reading that one of the board members of the Japanese central bank saying that the effect of QE seems to be in that period of diminishing returns, so which could mean that they may be suggesting that QE may be getting off soon. And about the Aussie, I remember reading somewhere saying that the Aussie central bank wants Aussie to weaken further. And there was one more news about the pound, which is the budget deficit was getting smaller, so which means the spending by the government is compared to the borrowing by the government is getting less. So the government gets its revenue from the tax, and then it spends this money on social service. So whenever the tax is not enough, this is to put it simply. So in some way we could say that the amount of tax the government gets from the country and the amount of money it spends on public services. So if it spends more than what it gets in tax, so it's having budget deficit. So that's what it seems to be having now. But because of the conservative government in power now, they are putting through measures for austerity. And even today there was news of Osborne saying that some government departments some departments' budget would be cut by 40%. So hence, in some way, the spending by the government will even get smaller. And I think those were the only important news from today. Tomorrow, as we discussed yesterday and a few days earlier as well, there's the Kiwi official cash rate coming out, and the GBP MPC official bank rate votes. So before it was 009, so now that there's a potential for rate hike, so these numbers may split. So this is just the number of how many members agree on keeping the same rate, or how many disagree. And I think that's the important ones that's coming out from tomorrow. As far as the news was concerned, I don't remember seeing anything definitely to do with the currencies as such, but there was some news about Canada's dollar hit by China and oil boost. But when I looked at the chart, it didn't seem to have affected much. Dollar Canadian was around the same mark as yesterday. And there was another news for sterling bulls right BOE rate debate. So I was thinking, seeing this news, that dollar pound may have appreciated against dollar, or against Canadian dollar, or against Aussie dollar, but the chart didn't seem to agree with this statement. And I think that's all today. I think in general, I think dollar seems to have gone down a bit, weakened a bit. Not sure what this could be because of. Oh, there's one more news of how Dow was sliding. So could this be related? I'm not sure. One thing we may have noticed in the last few days is that, for example, for pound, there seems to be some relation between how FTSE goes up and pound dollar goes up. And similarly for dollar yen, how when Nikkei moves up, dollar yen would move up as well. Anyways, now let's take a look at the charts. So euro dollar, so even though euro dollar spiked up, I think this is because of dollar weakening today and not because of euro gaining strength. Pound dollar, as we discussed, it seems to be stagnating around this area for the last few days. So this news which we saw earlier didn't seem to have made much of an impact. So I think in the weekly it will still try to move up to this 200 EMA. Let's see. Dollar yen, even though dollar was weakening today, but it didn't move much. From yesterday it may have moved maybe around 20 pips, so it's not a very big movement. And dollar Canadian, so even though the news was saying that the Canadian dollar was hit by China and oil wars, in the chart, of course, Canadian gained strength a bit, and there may actually be some correction due, but it was not hit massively as the news suggested. Aussie dollar, I think similar explanation of dollar weakening, so Aussie would appreciate against the US dollar. Kiwi dollar has moved up yesterday and today more than 100 pips. So tomorrow would be a day of reckoning for Kiwi, so let's wait and watch. Euro yen, because euro moved up today, euro yen moved up as well, but this is the tricky area where we don't know yet if euro yen will fall down further or go up. Pound yen, yeah, I think this is some kind of correction, but one thing we should note is this may be a failure for pound yen to take out the previous high. So this may form an inverted M and pound yen may fall further. But if the Bank of England is going to raise the rate, then this should actually go up, because yen is now in QE. The yen should weaken and pound should gain strength. This was the height of weakness of yen, around 195 for a pound. So it will be difficult. Euro Canadian was stagnating, but it seems to be forming a small uptrend there, both in daily and weekly. So if euro gains strength or Canadian gets weaker, so this will be forming a proper uptrend. Pound Canadian, similarly today across the pound pairs, there's a slight down movement. And the Euro Aussie as well, it seems to be on an uptrend. This is the second wave of this, actually more like the third wave of this uptrend. And in the weekly it seems to be on a proper uptrend, so it will be interesting to see in the next few weeks. Pound Aussie, similar to other peers, it seems to have gone down a bit, but as we noted yesterday, there's a very sturdy uptrend in Pound Aussie. Even in monthly, it has been appreciating since beginning from around 2013, so never bucked the trend, as they say. The indices, I don't think there was much to be discussed, but this is something to note, which is the movement of Nikkei seems to mirror dollar yen. I think let's take a look at similarly, for example, FTSE. FTSE seems to be falling down today, and pound fell down as well. S&P, I think today was slightly down because maybe the Dow Jones was down, so S&P is also slightly down. US dollar, I think, slightly down as well. Oil has been well, because dollar weakened today, so the price of oil would increase slightly. Gold bounced up slightly as well because of the dollar weakening, but it's not really much today. And I think that's all for today. Let's come back tomorrow again.